Students at Ontario's Western University are planning to walk out of classes today in protest. It comes amid sexual assault allegations on campus. Sylvie Lenday will have more at the bottom of the hour. Now, yesterday, the Ontario government announced they are strengthening supports for university and college students reporting sexual violence or harassment. To explain what all this means is Ontario Minister of Colleges and Universities, Minister Jill Dunlop. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Bob. How are you?
Good. This story, as I mentioned earlier, this is so jarring to so many people. It impacts so many people. You yourself have mentioned you have 3 daughters in post-secondary institutions right now. We all count on these institutions to be safe spaces. So what are the new measures being taken to ensure that?
Well, thanks, Bob. And as you mentioned, I am a mom of 3 post-secondary students, 3 daughters, and it is a horrific situation that we're hearing about. And we expect that when our students go off to campuses in the fall, that they are in that safe and supported learning environment. So yesterday, we announced that the government was bringing forward regulatory amendments. And what this means is that it will require institutions to update their sexual violence and harassment policies in order to shield students from irrelevant questions during sexual violence investigations at schools and ensure that they can safely bring forward complaints without fear of disciplinary action.
Now, some of this stuff like irrelevant questions, about sexual history, I'm surprised that's even a thing still.
Well, we did hear from students, and these recommendations were brought forward by the Ontario Undergraduate Student Alliance. And we've taken this very seriously, and this is something that we have been working on for some time. So the recommendations were brought forward, they were posted for public feedback, and we're moving forward.
Yeah, obviously this wasn't drafted overnight, and as you mentioned, you were in consultations with student groups earlier this year. But this is, again, strengthening previous rules. But as we've learned this morning through Sylvie's reporting, the president of Western is admitting that the school let down students and families. Is there a compliance issue?
Well, we know that the school has acted swiftly this week with some of the, Dr. Shepherd brought forward some policy changes yesterday. So we need to look at the supports that we have for students, when these issues do happen, but also what we can do around the prevention at schools. So the policy changes will help with prevention, and also some of the work that the government has been doing since 2018. We doubled the campus support grant. It's a $6 million that campuses have access to ensure that students are safe on campus.
Now, the deadline for these new rules, so it's effective March, but the crisis is now. So what do we do in the interim in enforcing this?
Well, students colleges and universities can act right now. It comes into effect on March 1st of 2022, but that doesn't mean they can't start making these changes right now, and I would encourage them to do so.
These consultations you had with student groups, what were other things that you were hearing?
Well, these were the recommendations that were brought forward by the students, and we will continue having these conversations as we have before. In my former role as Ontario Minister of Women and Children's Issues, we looked at gender-based violence and what we can be doing to ensure that we provide the supports for those survivors of sexual violence, but also the prevention. So ensuring that there's supports for students on and off campus.
Are these measures enough to reduce the stigma that comes with reporting?
We can always be doing more, and I think seeing the students together, I know there's a march at Western, and I'm hearing that other campuses across Ontario are coming together to show their support too. But I think that seeing students come together and support one another, that helps to end the stigma, and I hope will ensure that students who have not come forward do feel supported to do so.
Well, we certainly hope that's the case, and that it reduces this, because this isn't isolated to Western. Of course, we're seeing it at many institutions. So these are welcome moves, and we thank you for sharing them with us. Ontario Minister of Colleges and Universities, Jill Dunlop, thanks for sharing your time with us this morning.
Thanks, Bob.